Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we got another new video about anime. You guys enjoyed the last one a lot. To be honest, I really enjoyed making it. I haven't made any ones before that video about anime or anything, but I love anime, love manga, I love the whole culture behind it, and it's something I'm very interested in. So you guys liked the video, so I figured why not make another one. Today this one's gonna be a little bit different though. It's gonna be about the series Tower of God, which is, I mean, technically it's an anime, but more so than that, it's a manhwa or a Korean manga is what that means. If you've never heard of them or webtoon or anything of the sort, listen, I'm sure you have at this point. They're gotten pretty hype within the last year or two. And the series Tower of God has been helpful in that as well, with its anime adaptation being the first webtoon slash manhwa, whatever you want to call it, to get an anime adaptation. And to be honest, I'm gonna keep it real with you. It wasn't the best adaptation that it could have been. It also wasn't the worst, so don't think I'm saying that by any means. But basically, I wanted to make this video today to get you guys who haven't necessarily seen this anime or read this webtoon to get into it a little bit. And we'll dive into the reasons for that later. But first and foremost, I want to make a couple disclaimers here. The video that you see in the background right now, the little montage going on, I didn't make that. I will leave the original video down below. Go show some support to the guy who made it, because kind of just yoinking it because why not? Although this Hunter x Hunter part doesn't really seem to fit too well, I'll be honest, but that's besides the point. Go show the original video some love. The other disclaimer I want to make is that everything that I say in this video is my opinion. If you don't agree or whatever, that's fine. Don't gotta be annoying about it. Just my opinion. Get that straight out of the way first and foremost. As well as, and I guess the other point, I didn't really have to make this point, but I actually have already recorded and edited this whole video, and while I was exporting the video, the whole thing crashed and the whole file corrupted, so I'm recording this for a second time now. So hopefully I can hit all the points that I made in the original video well. We'll see. If I don't, I'm sure I'll make comments about it or something on the video. But it might not be as in-depth as I would hope for it to be. We'll see how it ends up being. But either way though, let's jump into it and talk about this a little bit. So why am I talking about Tower of God today? So the reason realistically being is because after the anime finished its first season, it went through the whole first season of the webtoon as well. So after it finished this first season, I was like, very good show, all things considered. It could have been better. They could have done some things better, could have done some things worse. You know how that is when you have already read something and then they adapt it into an anime. You just have criticisms, but overall I thought the show was really good. I enjoyed it a lot, and I had a great time watching it, even though I'd already read it and stuff. But the reason I even started reading the webcomic or webtoon was because I watched the first 2 episodes of the anime. I hadn't heard of the series before the anime was announced, and I wasn't going to read it. Usually when I find a new anime like that, I tried not to read and spoil myself. I tried just to watch and enjoy it for what it is. But for this one, I was like, you know what? I've never read a webcomic before. I've never read a webtoon. Well, I guess technically that's not true. I read like 2 chapters of Solo Leveling, but that's it. But like for the most part, I hadn't read any, and I was like, you know what? I've never done it. Let me give it a try. And so I read through the first couple episodes, and I got to the point where the anime was. Basically, I had caught up, and I'd seen some minor differences, but nothing too crazy. The main thing that I noticed was the art was obviously a little bit worse, but that's because the webcomic started coming out in like 2009 or 2010 or like a long time ago, basically. Maybe not 9 or 10, but it was over like it's been a long time. Let's just say that it's been going on for a long time. There's like over 400, maybe even 500 chapters at this point of the thing, so it's been out for a long time. But I read to that next chapter, and I found myself about 20 minutes later having read through the next 3, and I was like, okay, it's gonna be one of those that I'm not gonna be able to put down. And yeah, I was right. I read through the whole first season within the day, and then I read through the next 2 seasons within like 3 days after that. And I was caught up before the next episode of the anime had even come out. Basically, I was addicted to the show, and I found myself asking why. And you know what? The reasons, there's so many reasons. But I just want to say, this show, this webcomic is amazing. First and foremost, that's why I'm making the video. I want you guys to go read it and go watch it. This is basically a long-winded recommendation at the end of the day. So my reasoning for this was because a whole numerous things. I shouldn't say I've never, but this is one of the first series in quite a long time that I found myself just enthralled with. I loved everything about it. I loved the world. I loved the concept of it, of the idea of there's just this tower, and if you climb to the top, you can have anything you want. And that being the basic premise to get you hooked in, but the more you dive into it, you see there's a lot more going on than meets the eye, and you meet all these insanely cool and unique characters, and they all have their individual stories and emotions that they go through, and you just grow with them, you learn to enjoy them. And through season 1, this is a constant, and I'm saying that because basically, like, I'm gonna be spoiling as little as I can, but the first season of the anime has already been out for a long time, and the webtoon has obviously been out for even longer, so I don't mind spoiling season 1. I won't go past that though. But the whole thing with season 1 was basically a whole lot of character building, and just at the very end, obviously, with that plot twist at the end, with a little bit of story building, but not too crazy. I would say the first season was just mainly focused on the characters like Bomb, Kun, Rak, and how they all got along with each other, and basically giving you an idea of what the tower is about, with giving you the concept of Shinsu and the Tangray families and the 13 months and the Jihad princesses, and just giving you a basic understanding of what the series is going to be. And then, and I won't spoil anything, but then season 2 starts, and let me just tell you, things get kicked up into 10th gear really, really, really fast. I mean, almost instantly. I'm talking within 2 chapters of season 2, I was like, okay, this might already be better than pretty much anything that happened in season 1, minus maybe 2 moments. It was that good to me, in my opinion. The way the story moves after season 1 is so intricate, it's so detailed and so unique. The world itself, the way things operate in this world, and the characters, how they operate in the world, goes so much more in depth than season 1. Season 1 just barely, and I mean absolutely barely, scratches the surface of what this series is and the potential that it has as it goes on. And it's not just the characters and the world itself, it's the overall story of it. Because season 1, as I said, the story of it isn't really the main focus. You're really only focused on the few characters that you meet and that you know. But there's no real overarching story, except maybe a little bit towards the latter end of the season, when it comes to the stuff that happens with Rachel and a little bit with Yuri and Erosi and Anna, and kind of their little stories at the end. But that's about all that you get of the overarching tower story. You don't really get that in season 1. But then the story building really, really hits its legs in season 2, and even later on into season 3. Especially season 2 though. I cannot recommend enough that you go and read the webtoon. I mean, obviously I know people will just be like, oh, I'll just wait for the anime, and I'm pretty sure season 2 of the anime has already gotten the green light, but I'm sure that'll take at least a year to come out from now. So don't get your hopes up that it's gonna happen really anytime soon. It takes a while to do these kind of things. But and again, I have to stress this point because it needs to be said, I would even recommend going back and reading the first season of the webtoon as well, because while the season 1 of the anime did really good at a lot of the things that I would hope it would, which includes introducing characters and their relationships and stuff, there is a lot of points that I think it didn't do as well as, but that's just because they were trying to cram kind of a lot of content into not a lot of time. Season 1 of the webtoon, it's not that long, it's less than 80 chapters long. However, webtoon is a little bit different than traditional manga. There's a lot more depth in them, there's a lot more backstory and detail explaining, so it becomes kind of harder to adapt, in my opinion. So no fault to any of the studios or anything, and like I said, I still love the first season of the anime. I still think it's great. I just think at some points it could have been even better than it was, which is why I would recommend you just go read it instead. Now obviously this kind of comes off as me being a snobby guy who read the manga situation, you always see where it's oh, the manga's better. But as much as I hate to be that person, and I don't like those people, in this case I would say yes, you can just watch the anime and you're gonna really enjoy your experience like I did. It was great, but your experience could just be even better when you read it. And webtoons are also different from manga because if you don't know, every single chapter is in color. It's not like manga where it's black and white. So you get a really, really detailed picture when you read it. because not only is it in color, it also has all this extra details and dialogues and all that kind of stuff that just makes you want to read it even more and enjoy it even more than you do with like a traditional anime, in my opinion at least. So basically, I would just say I really recommend that you go read it. It's an amazing series. It was the first webtoon that I had ever read, and it made me fall in love with so many others because of it. Like I read all the way through the current chapter in season 3. However, at the time it wasn't on break. It is right now, but it will be returning soon. So now is like the perfect time to read up, get all caught up, because this later on this month the webtoon is going to start back up again after its hiatus that it's been on. So now would be a great time to get into it. But as I was saying, after I finished all 3 seasons and was caught up and stuff, like I just had such an itch for more that I started reading other webtoons and finding out that they were great. Like one that comes to mind is God of High School, which also got an anime adaptation, which maybe I'll talk about at another point in time. But let me just tell you, it's a great series. I highly recommend that you go read it. It's so good. If you are looking for, maybe, I guess the best way to describe it is like maybe a shonen type of world and character building, but I would say it's even better than most modern shonens. I would highly recommend you go read Tower of God. Either way though, guys, that's gonna be the end of the video. If you liked it, leave a like. If you're new around here, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications for when I post more videos just like this. It's free and you can always unsubscribe later, and it really helps me out, so I'd appreciate if you guys could do that for me. As well as if you want to see me talk about any other anime, maybe you want to see more webtoon stuff or anything like that, leave a comment down below and I'll see what I can do. Either way though, guys, I appreciate you. I thank you for watching, and I will see you in tomorrow's video. Peace.